Hi everyone, welcome back to Call to Mothering. Today I am talking about having a positive outlook and perspective on your child. Sometimes we can get so focused on what our children are doing wrong, and we are deep in this season of correcting and disciplining, which is good, but we tend to focus on the bad behavior in our children and overlook the positive ones. And what we hear in our heads is this bell that keeps going off. Every time that we see something that we need to correct, it's like ding, irresponsibility, ding, selfishness, ding, my child is hitting his or her sibling and not sharing. And we swoop in to provide correction. And while discipline is good and right, we tend to focus on the bad things or the things that our children are doing that we need to correct. And we just overlook the good things that they are doing. And we post negative things about them on social media. And we talk about the negative qualities in our kids and the things we have to correct over and over again with friends, on play dates, and even during church functions. So it becomes like this thing. We focus on the bad things. Before we know it, we are caught in a cycle of negativity, and we can't seem to find anything good about our kids. So today I would like to give you some practical ways that you can change a negative mindset and attitude and feelings towards your child, and also provide discipline. So we're going to get into that in a minute, but please go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notifications bell so that you know anytime I upload a new video. So now let's get to those ways we can change a negative mindset about our kids. Number one is replace negative labels with positive words. Sometimes we get so stuck in seeing our children in light of their faults and weaknesses that that's all that we can focus on. And we begin attaching negative labels to them without even thinking about it. Honestly, though, what we see as weaknesses or faults may just be the particular way that our child is created, the way that they are designed, and the way in which they will fulfill their role in life. It may just be the way that they are wired and will eventually become their greatest asset, either in their career down the road or some form or function in the future. So your lazy or distracted child, think of him or her as people-oriented. Play to their strengths, which would be compassion and being tuned into other people's hearts and minds. And you can direct these qualities in a positive, helpful way, like volunteering, like serving others, while at the same time you work alongside your child on becoming more attentive and focused. So you don't just ignore the things that they need help on, but you also direct these different traits in a positive way, the things that they have a natural bent towards. As for a bossy or serious child, think of him or her as task-oriented. Their strengths are being responsible, organized, able to lead others. So you want to direct those qualities in a helpful, positive way, like maybe heading up projects or taking care of younger siblings. Maybe planning a family outing, or just giving them some small responsibility that they can be in charge of, something that doesn't take over your role as a parent, but just something that shows that you understand and you appreciate how responsible they are. And these opportunities to shine will boost confidence in your child, while you also gently work with him or her on addressing problems in a tactful way. Here are some positive words that you can use to change the way that you see your child. Persistent instead of stubborn, expressive instead of dramatic, determined instead of forceful, active instead of restless, and imaginative instead of daydreamer. Number 2 is change the way you respond. Research has shown that negative language is, in fact, ineffective. Especially for young children, negatively worded discipline is much harder to understand. For example, stop tells a child nothing. He is left to figure out what he must stop doing, first of all, and then figure out what he needs to do instead. And even if you have given him you have told him what he is to stop doing, he still needs to double process. He needs to first process what you've told him to stop doing, and then he still needs to figure out what he should do instead. In contrast, positive language is much more effective because it tells children how specifically to cooperate, and it eliminates unnecessary frustration for your child, who now has clear instructions. And it also reduces your frustration, since you don't have to waste time repeating yourself over and over again in several different ways until your child responds. So here are some common examples of negative language and alternative positive phrases that you can replace the negative language with. So instead of don't run, use walk please. Instead of don't touch your sister, use keep your hands to yourself. Instead of don't throw your toys, you can say keep your toys on the floor. Instead of stop interrupting, say I can see that you want to talk to me. Wait 1 moment, please. Instead of leave him alone, say come over here and play. Instead of saying stop yelling, you can say something like speak in a quiet voice, please. And instead of calm down, you can say take a deep breath. We'll work on this together. And especially instead of saying there's nothing to get upset about, which only makes the child more upset, you can say I can see that this is hard for you right now. Let's work through it together. Additionally, positive language reinforces good behavior, and it also shows thoughtfulness. This is because you are responding to your child in a way that doesn't just default to no or stop. When we use the same phrases over and over again without much thought, our children are much more likely to ignore us. I found that I don't react to my kids' behavior or requests out of exasperation and frustration nearly as much when I pause, reflect, and then I respond. By approaching both of my children with more patience and a willingness to find a solution, they were also much more likely to do the same. Number 3 is look for ways to praise them. Another great way to beat a negative attitude towards our kids is to simply affirm them. By intentionally looking for praiseworthy things that they did that day, you will call to mind the positive attributes and behaviors of theirs, and you won't be so focused on the negative ones. If they feel like we're always pointing out what they're doing wrong, always pointing out the bad stuff, they'll soon get discouraged and feel like they can never please us. And as a result, they might just start acting out on purpose, since they feel like this is the only way to get our attention. And that just perpetuates a negative cycle. So be on the lookout for them letting a sibling go first, having a turn first, or if you see them working hard on a task that they had trouble with in the past. Maybe they're working hard on a subject that they're having some problems with, or just stepping up and helping out more. Any positive thing that you can praise them for. Look for those things and then tell your child specifically what you are praising them for. And on special outings, resist the urge to correct and discipline your child unless it's a really serious issue. Non-critical listening breeds closeness. And lastly, stop trying to measure up to others' standards. It's scary how enslaved we can become to the things of this world when in an effort to be seen by others as a good mom. We try to live up to other expectations by having a full schedule, by keeping an immaculate home, and also by focusing on outward behavior, our kids' outward behavior, to the neglect of our relationships with them. And eventually we end up resenting our children for all the time that they're taking up, or for not doing their part in contributing to our success. As moms, we give up a lot for our kids, our time, our energy, our plans, and sometimes our desires. And we want it all to count for something. We want it to count in tangible ways. And deep down, we want recognition and validation, not just from others, but from our kids themselves. And we may not expect them to express their appreciation or gratitude, but we do tend to gauge their actions as for how we feel about ourselves. We think that their behavior is somehow an indication of how well we're doing as mothers, and we immediately think that we're failures if our child struggles in some way. So we tend to cover it up. We do things like settling for outward behavior change and focusing on them following the rules instead of really getting into the heart issues behind their behaviors. We guilt them when they don't obey by saying things like, how dare you do that? Or you never listen to me. How many times do I have to repeat myself? We enroll them in all sorts of extracurricular programs and activities and sports and academic programs so that they can look good to others. As a mom, I'll never be able to get the approval of others. I can't live up to their ideas of what a good mom is because everyone has a different opinion. So go easy on yourself and stop trying to strive for perfection. Another thing to keep in mind is that your kids truly do not need the best of everything. They don't need the latest and greatest gadgets. They don't need the Pinterest perfect birthday party. They don't need the expensive toys and clothes, or even a ton of extracurricular activities. They just want that simple magic that their parents bring to their lives, like a homemade birthday cake, Play-Doh that's made from scratch, thrift shopping sprees, or a movie night at home. They really just need you. They need you praising them, investing in them daily, and also they just need your time and attention. That's really what kids are seeking, and that's what you can provide for them as their mom. So I hope that this has been helpful and encouraging. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And remember, you are not just a mom.